It was a chilly, crisp morning at the south end of CSX's Winston Yard, and we were set up for southbound train 0730. 730 is a daily local for the Bone Valley, powered on this date by two snowbirds escaping the harsh winter temperatures of their homeland. In the second slot was an SD70ACu, a beastly locomotive rebuilt by Progress Rail and sought after by many rail fans, myself included. Shortly after the power eased by, we hit the road, pacing the train out of the yard limits and towards our next spot at Control Point Tancred. Winston Yard is the gateway to the Bone Valley. The valley is so named for the archaeological remains dug up by its numerous resident phosphate mines and is an intricate web of tracks crisscrossing both the landscape and each other, designed for shuttle service of phosphate from the mines to the docks in Tampa. The Bone Valley of 2021 represents only a fraction of its former glory, with mergers of both mining and railroad companies doing away with redundant infrastructure. 0730 is a staple train of today's BV, primarily responsible for shuttling empty phosphate hoppers from Winston to the mines. These hoppers come off of road trains into Winston, a block of which is bound for Mosaic's New Wales mine today. There are multiple routes through the Bone Valley that this train can take, depending on opposing traffic and the tasks at hand. This is one of the many aspects that makes rail fanning in the valley very fun and very impulsive. The first possible split in 730's routing comes from within CSX's Mulberry Yard, where I got the drone up in hopes of determining the direction our train would take. This didn't prove to be the least bit helpful, as the engines were probably deep in the yard, switching out the manifest block on the head end. I did get a neat overhead view of the yard, which, by the looks of it, is shrinking. Notice the remains of what used to be the innermost track. With no more knowledge on 730's routing than before, we made the decision to jump to downtown Mulberry, where two CSX lines cross, in the middle of the road. This has always been an iconic location within the Bone Valley, and it wasn't long until our guess was made good by the front profile of a CPGE. Back when Norfolk Southern was performing SD70ACu rebuilds, the Canadian Class 1 decided to send off 60 of its long-dormant SD9043MACs to Progress Rail in order to be rebuilt to ACU specifications. EMD's 9043 Macs were plagued from the start, as they were originally built to be operated with a 6,000 horsepower engine. But technical problems right out of the gate forced the manufacturer to swap in their 4,300 horsepower unit, thus making them informally known as SD9043 Max. The power-related issues combined with crew discomfort had the Canadian Pacific 9043s sidelined for years, but the ACU program offered an exciting second wind for the giant locomotives. The SD70ACu features a heavily modified cab and the more modest 4,300 horsepower engine, rated for 65 miles an hour. It's not quite a record-breaking run this morning, though, as the 7006 tiptoes alongside its GEVO leader through Aiken and towards Pierce Yard. Pierce is one of many small yards situated within the valley, usually used to store overflow phosphate hoppers, but not today. From Pierce, we worked our way south to Bradley Junction, the southernmost in the Bone Valley. Bradley will violently swing the train from south to west heading, and from there it's a short distance to Mosaic. Knowing that we'd watch 0730 for the final time at Bradley Junction, I decided to get the drone in the air and am very happy with how this entire scene ended up piecing together. As if 7006's sheer size wasn't evident enough, the Mavic Pro allows a side-by-side comparison of the ES44AC leader and the trailing ACU. These rebuilds, much like their 9043 Mac past lives, are absolutely massive. Another neat view the drone provides is of Mosaic's New Wales Mine, 0730's ultimate destination. Those large mounds are a trademark site of the Bone Valley, made up of phosphogypsum, a useless byproduct of phosphate mining that has been cast aside by Mosaic for decades. Much to my surprise, 0730 wasn't going straight to Mosaic today, but rather shoving east onto a rarely used yard lead in order to pick up storage hoppers at Tram Yard. This would cap off an exciting morning in the Bone Valley, complete with a gorgeous rebuild and solid Canadian power. Thanks for railfanning with me today. I hope you enjoyed chasing these snowbirds as much as I did.